Mourning is such a curious institution. It's taken me quite a few days just to get up the strength to make this video. Sometimes you don't want to get out of bed. Sometimes you don't want to really be involved with anything or anyone. You just know you have to keep going. And sometimes it's very difficult to do. What you're hearing are pets moving around. You hear a dog and you hear a cat. I'm April, the accidental mindful girl. If you're tuning in to me, then you may be suffering with the loss of a loved one, probably a husband, or maybe a wife. Unfortunately, I lost my love. Cedric and I have been married for almost 19 years. And we had a really good marriage. Marriage in and of itself is not an easy thing to do, not if you're doing it right. So we were really striving to make God the center of our world and to grow around Him with each other in respect and love and humility and just really caring for the other. Cedric passed away about 2 months ago. No, 3 months ago, in July of 2021. He was a heart transplant patient. And he had a smile that could light up a room. And he was funny, and he was smart, and he was handsome, and he had integrity. He thought about his fellow man, and he wanted to make the world a better place than it was when he found it. And surprisingly, he was able to do quite a bit with his health challenges. But when he passed, I never saw that coming. I never saw that coming. We were working towards getting a second heart transplant, and it seemed like we were almost there. But he went to the hospital for a stay. And the day he was supposed to be released to come home, unfortunately, the nurses found him unresponsive. And the doctors couldn't bring him back. So mourning the loss of a loved one, particularly a husband, goes so deep that I don't know what one day will look like from the next. I just wake up and keep moving. The only way I'm able to do that is to drown my tears in God's bosom and just rely on Him to pull me through this. because the pain is so deep and so great. Till I know that if I didn't have a daily routine of reading and praying and fasting, I couldn't make it. So if you are like me and you're suffering with the loss of your love, my prayer for you is that you become grounded in the knowledge that God can get us through this, and that you develop a routine of leaning on Him to do it. Look towards Him to do that and expect Him to do that. He is an awesome, awesome Father, nurturing parent. If you've ever seen a parent and you've admired how they are with their children, they've got nothing on the parenting of God. And so we don't have much of a choice if you want to keep moving, because life is for the living. So the name of my blog is Nurture the Peace. And we say when we put our loved ones in the ground, rest in peace. But there's also got to be some peace for the living. And so I pray that you find that peace in developing a relationship with God. I love the song Everlasting Arms because it encourages the spirit, and it says it in a beautiful way. It says, what have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. And that's what we've got to do. That's what I encourage you to do. May God be with you today as you rise and you meet the challenges that come to you. Begin your day with praying to Him for strength and guidance so that you can actually make it through a day in a somewhat right state of mind as best you can. But I pray that instead of closing yourself in, you open yourself up to the full experience of what God has put in your life. And we can think about the blessing of having our love with us for as long as we had them. And we can focus on that good. And with an open heart and a wounded, healing heart, we can take in many of the tools that God has blessed us with. They sit around us. We can find some of them in a book. We can find some of them in an interesting lecture. We can find them within. We can journal and read and just lean on those who offer to help us, to actually give us some of the help that we need. You're not alone. You're not alone. I pray that you realize that. And I pray that a year from now, when we see each other again, we'll both smile more than we cry. May God be with you.